Blessings to you, our friends. We are the Ancestral Medicine Women, healing from the past for the present and the future. A good example of what you are asking is when you look at these Christian religions, and they have their Catholic and their Protestant, and then beneath that they are like these umbrellas, and then beneath that there are all these different subsets, and they all are talking about the same thing, but they practice in a different way. And actually, when you look at the shaman tradition and the Wicca tradition and any other mystic tradition, healing tradition, always they are coming from the same thing, which is what you call the source. Some say God, some say the Earth Mother, but always it comes from source. And all of these different traditions are just different ways of expressing the source. Just like the human being, they come in a different way. They are individual. There is no two human being that is exactly the same. This, in fact, is the, perhaps you say, moral or ethical issue of this idea of cloning the human. If you clone the human and they have exactly the same physiology, DNA, cell structure, and so on, but what about their soul, if you like, to make it very simple? What about that? Will it be the same? Is this possible? So this is where, exactly like the different traditions that come from source, they are all coming from the same, but they are expressing individually in a different way. Just like if the person is cloned, what is the possibility that they will be exactly the same? Not very much. Because they are, even though they have the same cell structure, the same physiology, they will be, in fact, a different representation of source. Exactly. So, when you talk about Wicca, and when you talk about the shaman tradition, they are from the same beginning, if you like. And the same sort of energy runs through them, this source energy for healing, for knowledge, for peace, for possibility, for change, for development, all of these things. But they just express themselves in different ways. This is why it is interesting not just now, but always it has been this way. That if you see one person who is different from you, we are saying not like a different nationality, different tribe, immediately you feel that there is this, right, something, they cannot be trusting them. You see this all the time. In now we talk back to the religions. All the time you see this. You cannot trust them if they are not thinking the same as you. But what these traditions like shaman and Wicca, they really show that because there is this beginning which is the same, but the expression is different. They really show this very clearly, but what they also are endeavoring to do is to find the source of the energy. So because they are going on this path, because they are, and sometimes they manipulate this energy to find the source or to utilize this energy, because that is part of their practice, is to really find the source and go back to that and gather this energy and use this energy and to be with this energy. You can see that they are very similar, and because this is what the practitioners are trying to do, they themselves can see the similarities, that they are just an expression different. So they can become more peaceful, more relaxed, less worried about competition, less worried about somebody being better or different than them. They can just focus on their own tradition and what that tradition brings. And this is something that is very helpful for the human beings, because they can just focus on their own tradition, what that gives them, but they can see that there are other traditions, not for them, but for others, and that serves that person, just like a different tribe, a different nationality, a different race even. You do not need to become the bosom buddies with these people that are not like you, but you can see that they are just the same as you, but on a different path. So they are not to be feared. They are not to be reviled. They are not to be even perhaps revered and looked up to, because some, they do this. You can see this very clearly, especially in some countries where they are very wealthy and everybody wants to go there and be part of that wealth. And they revere that culture. They revere that. But when they get there, they see that really it was nothing much more than what they have come from. And they find this startling. They find this quite distressing, because they've abandoned where they have come from and put that down, said it is not good enough. I want to find something that is better. And this one is showing me that it is better. But then they get there and they find that it is not. And this is very disconcerting, because they have worked so hard to get to this, and really they're just in the same place. So what does that say to us? It says that they are never going to leave the place that they have come from, because that is the experience that they are experiencing. Yes, they can go and experience other things. Nobody can stop you from experiencing. But where they have come from, that is their group, if you like. And they will always be a part of that group. They will always, because that is the source. They've come from the source to that group to experience that particular energy. Yes, as we said, they can try others. And sometimes they might feel more comfortable in other types of energy. But they will always be this, and they can never deny this. It is not beneficial to them to deny this, because to deny that is to deny the self, to deny the source that they are from. You see. So this is what Wicca and the shaman traditions, this is what they are. They are just expressions of source that are different expressions, more individual expressions. And even within, as we have said before, the shaman tradition, there are different ways of expressing that tradition within the shaman tradition. You know, we have said some use hallucinogens, some do not. Some, the journeying is everything. And for others, yes, it is a very big part, but they are heal in other ways as well. So the way it is expressed is different even within that tradition, but we would still say it is from the source of the shaman tradition. They are in that energy. The same with the Wicca. They express in different ways. In the Wicca, though, they have, unfortunately, they have through fear, always through fear, acquired some reputation for the white and the black. But it is interesting because with everything there is both sides. So you can even say with the white witch, the white warlock, whatever you want to call them, they, because of what they're doing, have to experience some of what is considered the dark side. Because what is this idea of manipulation? That could be considered to be quite dark. But that is what is happening. They are using the energy that they are within and manipulating that to create something else. This does not make them dark. This does not make them bad or something to be feared, because, let us tell you, that every healer does exactly the same thing. This Western medical doctors, when they are giving you some tablets to make you to relieve symptoms of something, That is what they are doing. They are actually manipulating what is there to create some difference. That is why when medicine was first really becoming something of a profession, perhaps, in countries, places like the Britons, this type of places, and in some European countries, not so much in the southern European countries, and of course from the Arab countries, they were very clever with their medical knowledge, their physic knowledge. But when it was going to places that were infected with religious zeal, then this idea of physic, this idea of medicine, when it was becoming more, just before it was becoming more, there was this fear that there was magic being used. And that physics, the doctors, whichever you want to call them, they were seen to be manipulating energies, right? Like magic. And it took some time before that could be seen as not magic. But why? Not because they did not want to, not because it was not magic, but because they saw, they see what they want to see, and they see that it is having an effect, that it is positive. And so they say, oh, it is not magic, this is something else. So, but all of it is manipulating energy. That's what it is. That's all it is. That is what healing is. When somebody massages, yes, and they are massaging the back, let us say, and what is happening? The muscles have been injured, we shall say. No blood or not enough blood is being able to get there to bring fluid, to bring the healing of the blood, to allow the flow, energetic flow. So this, then the muscles, they seize. So the masseuse, what are they doing? They are manipulating. And then you can say they are manipulating the energy, not just the physical. And then allowing this flow energy, allowing the healing properties of the blood, allowing the fluids to flow. They are just manipulating. Even in this field of chiropractic, they actually say manipulation. They are not frightened to speak the word. We will just manipulate the neck. Because they understand that through this very physical manipulation allows the energy to flow. But they actually use the word manipulate. This is very brave of them. If somebody in the Wicca world or in the shaman tradition, they said, oh, we manipulate the energy, then this fills people with fear, because what, they have the power to manipulate the energy? But every single individual in the world has the power to manipulate energy. All you have to see is the child in the supermarket with the mother. And the mother does not want the child to have the sweet. But the child manipulates the energy so that by the time the mother is going from the shop, she has to give the child the sweet. Because the energy has been manipulated. And this word manipulation is used very negatively in the English language for certain. Because if somebody is manipulative, then they are evil. Right? They are selfish, all of this. And of course, then you come back to the Wicca tradition, where there is this white and black, and that the black, they manipulate. So this is bad. So you see, they have this darkness that has attached itself to them in this area. But we say it is all manipulation. And this is not something to be afeared of. If you are afeared of it, then yes, you will see the darkness and allow that to permeate. But it is not to be afeared. Everything is manipulation. Everything. You are happy? Then this is what we say for today.